How are y'all?
Dan, you don't have limited contact this weekend, but what do you guys as a coaching staff want to get out of this weekend the most?
Yeah, I would say we're trying to get them acclimated with what we're doing schematically. So introduction to our schemes, offense, defense, and special teams, and then we're trying to assess their movement skills and their shape. What kind of shape are they in? What do they really look like as athletes now that we're around them? So we're testing them a little bit with just their lateral movement, their hips, flexibility, change of direction, all those things. So just to be able to get our eyes on them is really, I'd say those two things are the most important things right now.
Jameson can do, but talk about Jameson as he's recovering as well. What he's able to do so far.
Yeah, well, he's already asked about doing jugs, so. But no, he's good. We got him watching right now. Kevin Bastine was with him a little bit yesterday. He and James Mitchell both. They're both coming off the ACL, so they're out there, they're watching. And then once that's over, we have them doing a couple of things, just to assess where they're at. But we don't have them involved. That's not the point. But mentally, they very much are involved.
Expressions of him, just like how engaged he is with the game, or
oh, he's engaged now. You put him out on the grass, and that's his domain. So he's very much engaged. You ask him a question, he's got the script, he's on it. So. In meetings, he's very engaged. He asks good questions. He's for where he's at and for what you want. I know we're only one day in, but that's what we're asking out of he and James, for that matter, is the mental side of it, man. Be in tune, know what you need to know, listen to all the little details, and then give it back to us. And he's doing that.
How soon they will be ready. I know it's probably not important to push them given the rookies, but you also, if you want contributions this fall, you probably need them at some point later in the season.
We'll just take it as it comes, Take it as.
Is that how you measure how he's progressing, retention and things like that?
Yeah, right now it's with all of them. It's how fast can they mentally pick up what we're giving them. There again, we've got a walkthrough out there. It's only team stuff that we're doing is walkthrough, and then we have an afternoon walkthrough, and that's without helmets or anything. So much of it is the mental side. So you're trying to teach those guys, this is what we do, this is how we do it. You walk through it, they mess it up, and then you just want to see improvement. You teach them, and then when you go back out in the afternoon, let's see if they've learned. And they get a lot of the same stuff. They get some new stuff, and that's ultimately, like what we're looking at is, is just the mental side of it and the ability to learn, take what you've been given, and are you coachable, those things, and and they're doing that, and we'll see how they do today. They're going to be a little bit sore, so.
More big picture, you talked about the schematic adjustment up front with the defense. I know you kind of downplayed that a little bit, but offensively, Ben Johnson's not joining midstream now. He's got a chance to put more of his fingerprints on here. So as you're installing what kind of Ben's designed with the collaborative, how are things maybe looking different? What's maybe a basic synopsis of how this offense might look different?
I would say that he's doing a great job, by the way. He really is. I've been impressed with what he's doing, what he's implementing, and inside of what we're trying to get done here. And so I would say this, we're going to be much more efficient just with how we get things in and out of the huddle. The ability to change our tempo will be big, and some of that just comes from verbiage alone, believe it or not. And so I just feel like everything's going to be so much more streamlined, and the ability to get on the line if we need to, and one word, one call. And whether that's with high tempo or not, could be we're just back on the line, no tempo, but we're not huddling, which that in itself puts stress on the defense, and just getting our guys comfortable with that. And so, we're giving the rookies some of that stuff right now, but that's what we've been doing with the vets as well. But he's done a great job. Everybody's on the same page, and so much of this, as simple as it is just having the staff on the same page. And with what I want, and Ben's doing a great job with that, and using his creativity with it.
Just to be clear, Is that just a tool that you can use at times, or do you want to go primarily like no huddle?
We want to be able to do anything and everything that we can at any given time. And I feel like what we're implementing will allow us to do that. And all we want to ever, you just want to get to the point to where you know that offensively you can do anything and everything in your arsenal to put stress on the defense. And we don't want to feel like we're ever limited by what we're doing offensively, schematically, verbiage, communication, anything. Our limitations should come from, well, this player doesn't do this well, or this player does this well. We don't want to ever feel like we're the ones holding our offense back as a staff. Let's put it that way. And I feel like this is going to enable us to do the most that we can do.
Talk to you much since a lot of the moves, but just as offseason and just the draft, it seems like you guys had a clear direction of the types of guys you wanted to get in all aspects. How would you grade so far, like the moves that you got, the guys you picked up, just overall your thoughts on just the culture of guys that you guys have been building for this offseason?
Yeah, we're listen, I can't say enough great things about everybody here and that has been involved in this process, but certainly Brad. I couldn't ask for more as a head coach than what Brad has done last year and this year. And we share the same vision. We said that from day one, but we've always said we're going to get the type of guys that match what we're about. And that is a gritty group of guys that love ball. And by the way, they're explosive athletes. And so I think when you get that combination of those type of players, we were talking last night, we are trying to avoid floaters. We don't want to draft floaters. And a floater is a guy who gets here and he's just happy to be here and he's just kind of, there he goes. He's in the open ocean, this is great, And like we want guys that are highly competitive and they love ball. And yeah, they're not going to be perfect. They might not always say the right things, but they mean well, but they love ball. And they'll do anything for it and do anything for their teammates. So, and so in that regard, Eric, I'm elated with the guys that we have and the vision, keeping the vision with where it's been and where it's going.
And what did you like the most, and what did you like the least about the schedule when it came out? Were you 4 at home? Or are you guys doing it?
I'll be honest with you, I haven't even digested it that much. I looked at it last week and then we were getting ready for the rookies. Just from a glance, I have no arguments. I think it looks great, I didn't think we would open with Philly. I guess that was, we always do those things upstairs. It's like, all right, who do you think we're opening with? Who are we playing on Thanksgiving? Are we home or are we away? And so I wouldn't have guessed Philly, but it doesn't matter. It's good, We'll be with the Colts. We're going out to them for that week.
And then the second week then, what do you get out of something like that? What's the purpose of it?
Well, I just think you get two real good first of all, it's a change of intensity because you're going against another opponent, and sometimes even as intense as you try to make your own practices, just to be able to go against a different opponent just levels the stakes, man. It levels the intensity, which you need that. Their bodies need that. The competition, just to raise the stakes a little bit goes a long way for your guys. And so to be able to get, 2 really good days against them, and then certainly the preseason game, I think it changes up training camp, but it also, there again, it raises the intensity. And competition, and especially different competition, is always good. That's what it does for us.
I wanted to ask about Aiden. I think that's a guy a lot of us kind of pinned as a Dan Campbell guy through the process.
Who's that? I'm sorry.
Aiden Hutchinson.
Yeah.
Looked for a while like he was going to be the number 1 pick and you weren't going to have a shot for him. So just can you take us through like the mindset of that week and maybe realizing maybe it came all the way down to when you finally were on the clock, but when you had an opportunity to actually add him to your roster and what that means to you?
Yeah, look, everything was predicated on Jacksonville, and we were prepared for whatever move happened. But as you guys all know, we couldn't get the call in fast enough once we knew they didn't take Aiden. So no, it worked out great. It was perfect, and he's a perfect fit for us. He really is everything that we're about, and he matches us perfectly. And I've said this before, but it just so happened to be that he was in the backyard. You know, it wasn't because of that, but that's icing on the cake there, that he was right down the road. And so I just feel like it was meant to be. And he belongs here. And you know, when you're going to pick guys, particularly that high, they better fit everything that you're about, and he does that.
Why does that matter, the backyard thing? I noticed with maybe your UDFAs and some of your tryout guys, you got a lot of guys that Michigan connections. Is there something to that?
I just think, you know, look, I just think that it's, look, they understand what it's like being around here. You know, they understand, I think, the community, they understand the weather, they understand whether they have directly or indirectly, they kind of understand this organization somewhat, you know. Now, they'll be, you know, from afar, but I think that it's, there may be a little bit more level of pride to it, potentially, with those guys, you know, because it is kind of home base. And so I don't think you just pick guys because of that. However, man, if they line up and you're looking for a jump ball, you'll take that jump ball. I would, so.
To get him, what are your first impressions been of him? Not on the field, but, you know, here. I mean, he's not a floater, obviously. So what have you seen from him?
He's not a floater?
Yeah, he's not a floater. Doesn't appear to be, at least from afar. So.
Yeah, don't tell him that if you do think he's a floater. Yeah, I mean, look, there again, we're a day in. I know this. He's happy to just be playing ball, you know, and I know that. And you know, there's so many things that come into this, especially when you're where he's at and these guys getting ready. They're taking the visits, you know, you're going through all these things that have nothing to do with football, and nothing to do with being on the grass. And so I know that he's just happy to be here, and he's in a classroom learning football. He's out there, he's working with Wash, and he's with the guys in the locker room. And I can tell that's his domain, and he's just happy to be doing that. I think this other stuff he knows he's got to do it, but that's not what all this is about. It's about ball.
At this point, have you come closer or made the official decision whether or not you're going to call plays?
Look, I'll promise you this. If I don't call him, Ben will. I'll promise you that right now, John.
Coach, as the rookies go through the acclimation process, maybe based off your experience or coaching experience, what is the most important thing off the field during that acclimation process for these rookies to attain so that they can better impact this team?
Yeah, well, I think for any rookie, it's the fact you're not in college anymore. You know, and some of these things that you were posting on Twitter or your social media or whatever, or what you're doing in the locker room, and you take a photo. I told them of something that happened. You know, somebody took a photo one time, and it's of me, but here's my buddy's locker right here, and he's got something in that locker that probably he doesn't want America to see, and now he gets put on display. And so just little things like that, you know, understanding that. I think the big message for these guys is there's been so much of it, and it's not their fault, but they've been, you know, everybody tells them what to do, and you go here, and everything is catered to them. And our big message is, man, grow up. You know, you're an adult now, and we're going to treat you like an adult. You're about to go in a locker room with a bunch of men, and a lot of these men have kids, they have wives, and they're serious about their business. And so nobody's going to hold your hand here. You know, we're not. Schedule will be posted. Look at the schedule. Handle your business. And so the faster they can learn that and they can grow up and fend for themselves and handle their own business, the better off they'll be. And the faster they'll acclimate to what we're about.
Anything different in your approach year 1 to year 2 to rookie minicamp? Anything maybe you learned from your first go around that you're applying this year?
I would say we just, not necessarily. I know this, that we just have to still be careful with how much we do, you know. And yesterday was pretty good. I felt like we were dead on. We did have a 7-on-7 period, and we still have a special teams, you know. But really, that's the only difference between last year and this year. We're just every day we're doing a 7-on-7, whereas last year we didn't do it till the last day. Of course, we got a quarterback now, you know. So last year was Tanner out there throwing, so that helps. But I think so much of it is still just getting them acclimated, getting them in the system, and then letting them move around a little bit. You know, I think you got to be careful doing too much with them. And then they're getting acclimated with the vets next week now. They're staying here and they're rolling right into the next group. So I think it's just, you know, there again, man, introduction to what we do, and be careful wearing them out too soon. That's all.
Hey, Dan, I know you said you didn't get a chance to dive into sorry, you certainly didn't get a chance to dive into the schedule yet, but any thoughts on the team being the only team in the NFL to shoot on the primetime game?
Oh, it's awesome. 1 o'clock games. It's awesome. 1 o'clock. You knock them out, you go home, you get ready for the next opponent. You're not waiting all day in the hotel, all night, you know, and then you go up. Now you're on a short week, it feels like. So I got no problem, you know. And by the way, you can get flex 5 to 15. So who says we can't get flexed?
Yeah, just one thing. Do you have any sort of first impression of your linebacker from Oklahoma State, Rodriguez? Just what you might see in him?
Yeah, I mean, look, there again, it's day one out there, but I know this, he looks the part. I mean, he's in excellent shape, and he's been training. Now, those guys have been training for the combine, all of them, so they're not in the greatest football shape right now, but you can tell he's been working, and he certainly looks the part. Seems to be pretty smart, like we thought he would be, and so we'll see where it goes. Yep.
Thanks, guys.
Okay.